Hello everyone, welcome to the Ielts channel, where we teach you everything about the International English Language Testing System, Ielts. Today we begin a series of lectures on the topic Academic Writing Task 1. The Ielts Academic Writing Task 1 is an information transfer task. The first task at hand is line graphs. Let's begin. The objective of this tutorial is to teach the student how to write an effective academic Task 1 essay using appropriate terminology. That way we help them achieve a band score of 8+. Defining academic writing task 1. Writing task 1 is an information transfer task where the student is required to summarize the main features of graphic data in a 150-word essay. And what is a line graph? A line graph or line chart is a dynamic graph displaying variables and their quantitative values in linear format over a specified time interval. Keywords to catch: dynamic graph, variables, quantitative values, linear format, and time interval. And so, what is required of the student? The student must display the ability to report data accurately, ability to identify relevant from irrelevant data, report on the facts only, the use of descriptive academic language, organization of the essay in a progressive manner, and the appropriate use of various language structures. We now move on to the exam structure. The academic writing task 1 is a 20-minute, 150-word essay, but you can aim for 160 to 200 words. It has the least marks, so always attempt task 2 first. Let's now study a question and provide a Band 9 answer. The graph below shows data for 3 high-tech companies and their share price for 4 months in 2012. Summarize the data by reporting on the main features and make comparisons where possible. Before we tackle the question in detail, let us consider what the examiner expects of the student in order for the student to attain a high band score. The Ielts Academic Writing Task 1 rubric states that for a student to get a band score of 6 and above, the essay must have an introduction, an overview, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and possibly paragraph 3, all this in 20 minutes. The student must now plan wisely, that is, 2 to 3 minutes of planning the essay, 14 to 15 minutes of writing it, and 2 minutes for proofreading. With that in mind, we now move on to the planning stage. Firstly, we make notings on the paper itself, taking particular interest of who was where at the beginning, their performance throughout, and their end position. We make note of the highs and the lows, the groups and the trends, taking particular interest in the drastic increases, the significant losses, the plunges, etc. Writing the essay. So we move on to the introduction. We introduce the graph in 1 or 2 sentences. We paraphrase using the question itself by using one or more of the following formats. We change the word order. We change the sentence into a complex by using relative clauses. We use the passive voice, and we make use of synonyms. But whatever we do, we don't copy the question word for word. In our instance, the task was as follows. The graph below shows data for 3 high-tech companies and their share price for 4 months in 2012. We paraphrase that into the line graph provided illustrates share prices for 3 technology giants, Facebook, Google, and Yahoo, across a 4-month period in 2012. We move on to the overview. What is an overview? An overview is a signpost telling the examiner or the reader what to expect in the coming paragraphs. That is why the overview language is, in general, as a brief, in a brief, or overall. These are just a few of the many that are available. Next, we do not write more than 2 sentences using the main features. We mention overall trend without providing specifics. We use data at the beginning and at the end, and we make use of synonyms. But whatever we do not use figures in the overall. That's the job of paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. We now write the overview, and then afterwards we will analyze it. In general, Yahoo had the best performance of the trio after having begun the period as the bottom placeholder. As Google fluctuated throughout, Facebook remained relatively stagnant. In analysis, we see that we started the overview with the overview language of in general. We wrote 2 sentences, and we wrote that at the beginning, Yahoo, which was bottom placeholder, and data at the end, Yahoo, which became first. We also mentioned Google, that fluctuated throughout, and talked about Facebook, which remained relatively stagnant. This is a very, very high score overview. Let's proceed to paragraph 1. Paragraph 1, do's and don'ts. Always start with linkers. What are linkers? Linkers are words or phrases that reveal a clear line of thought. In this instance, the linker is to begin with. Next, we write not more than 4 sentences using the main high features. Next, it is time for specifics. Paragraph 1 is for line graph data and terminology, and we make use of synonyms to avoid repeating ourselves. But whatever we do not give our opinion. In fact, Ielts Academic Writing Task 1 is an information transfer task. We are merely converting graphic data into a 150-word essay. Some of the paragraph 1 language we can use is, to begin with, which we mentioned earlier as a linker, drastically climbed, significantly improved, on the halfway mark, thereafter, and gained a certain percentage over a period of time before a verb. To begin with, Yahoo's share price stood at $2 against Facebook's $4.20, a difference of over 100%. A month later, after a stagnant run, it began a 2-month significant climb to April that culminated in a 150% share rise. In between, as March approached, it leveled with, and thereafter upstaged Google at around $2.30. Facebook was next to be surpassed approximately 30 days later. Do we have linkers? Yes, we do. We have to begin with, a month later, in between, etc. Do we have more than 7 sentences? No, we kept within the limits. Were we being specific? Sure. We talked about the variables and we mentioned their prices, their values rather. We even made comparisons. Remember, we said that line graphs become comparison charts if there's more than one variables. For instance, we wrote a difference of over 100% when we were comparing Yahoo to Facebook. Did we use line graph data and terminology? Yes, we did. We wrote significant climb, share rise, approximately. All those are line graph terminology. Did we use synonyms? All the way. We did not repeat the same words over and over again. We move on to paragraph 2. The laws of paragraph 2 are all the same as those of paragraph 1. However, when it comes to the language, it has to be different from that of paragraph 1 in the sense that we are now expressing the opposite of what we were doing in paragraph 1. If, for instance, in paragraph 1 we were expressing an increase, in paragraph 2 we are doing the opposite. There could be instances, however, when you have two graphs in the exam, which could be expressing increases or similar trends of different variables. In such an instance, your paragraph will be fashioned in such a way that each paragraph will discuss one graph and the other paragraph will discuss another graph, although both of them could be expressing an increase. In our particular instance, however, the language that is suitable is, conversely, in sharp contrast, these are linkers, plunged, fluctuated, significantly improved, rather significantly dropped. On the halfway mark, thereafter, lost a certain percentage over a period of time. Is it? Conversely, Google had the most eventful period of the three, albeit of little worth. Having started at second place, with a tag just above $2, it climbed to a peak within a month, around $4.30, then raced to a dip nearing $1.70, before leveling off at the end and back again in the $2.30 region. Similarly, Facebook began at $4.20, pegged the $2.50 dip in February, as Google peaked and Yahoo began its ascent, then gradually recovered to end slightly above where it had started. Let's now analyze. We opened with our linker, conversely. We wrote not more than 7 sentences. And we went into detail. We talked about the amounts, and we talked about the amounts, the time interval, and the values of the variables. This makes for a good Model 9 answer. In proofreading, some of the common mistakes are full stops at the end of sentences and commas within sentences. Also hyphen marks for word phrases like the noun phrase for month. Also, proper nouns have to be capitalized. Once you have finished your proofreading, you are now ready to hand in your work. Well, guys, that's it. That's the end of this lesson on language. But there's more on the series. If you learned a technique or two, if this video was helpful to you, please click the like button. If you want us to improve on anything, share with us your comments. We much appreciate it. Thanks a lot, guys. Oh, and by the way, we have a free PDF version of our Ielts Academic Writing Task 1 book. So, contact the number below and we'll contact you with the free PDF. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.